Hi, I'm Amber Antonelli with Awaken Your Soul, and I'm here with Karin, who just finished a retreat with us a couple of days ago. She's back in her apartment and really wanted to share a bit about her experience, a bit about what she's received from this process, and I'm assuming, what you have gotten to apply to your life moving forward.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do this with me. I wanted to do this because so much happened in 1 week that I want to share with friends and anybody who I believe would benefit from this work, that I thought this would be a good way to do this.
Yeah.
And first of all, let me say that this medicine really called me. Like it came into my life. I felt like it was just clear that this was something that I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the timing of this trip was just extraordinary. Like I just learned that the airport in New York City, or the airports are closed. I got back 2 days ago. We're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemonium unfolding.
Yeah.
And it's a miracle that I'm here and that I've received what I've received. And I have to say that it was the best week of my life. coming to Costa Rica and being with both of you and your loving staff. The place itself is extraordinary. 90 acres of jungle, and we were just treated with so much love and care and such delicious food. That in itself was already a huge blessing. So I think I also want to say that the attitude in which we come into a journey like that is really important. Mm-hmm. I had come to a place where I said, I'm going to accept whatever is going to happen. I'm going to release anything I can beforehand. And I was willing to go through some difficult experiences. I was ready to accept whatever was going to come to me. I had no idea how incredibly beautiful, loving, and how pleasurable this trip would turn out to be. And so I came in with the intention to heal my oral character structure. In core energetics, we talk about the oral character structure of basically there's an abandonment and deprivation around the age of 9 months to a year and a half old. And
everyone, or that was the age for you that the abandonment happened?
Well, when I was little, I remember lying in my bed in the dark, being really scared. My parents did not keep a light on. Mm-hmm. They themselves never had a light on in their own bedroom. I just spoke with them actually about this. And I think I felt abandoned a lot at night, but also they were working full time. And I was with my grandmother and my sister, and I always felt like they had a special bond. And so I don't know, I definitely felt very abandoned as a
right, but that was particular to you, which was what I was clarifying, because just making sure that you were saying particular to you rather than everyone starting.
That had, like, I came in with that intention, like knew like I need to heal this. Yeah. And I arrived feeling fantastic, and within a minute everything changed. Amber showed me my room, and she showed Ken, who came with me, a friend of mine who came with me, showed him his room, and I so much more liked his room. And I immediately went into, I want this room, we should roll a dice, we should, like, why wouldn't I get this room? And I came from this place where I was lacking. I was in this incredibly beautiful place, incredibly beautiful house, but I got so focused on this top room, and it felt so unfair to me. And I came to Amber afterwards and I said, Amber, this is so unfair. And I went to Anthony saying, this is so unfair. And there's my doggy.
Hi, buddy. Oh, you're so pretty. Look at you.
That's Ruby.
My Ruby. What a little man.
And I was aware that what's happening was the
Of
medicine was
course. Yeah.
working. I knew that this was meant to be, but I didn't see how aggressive I was in wanting to take away something that belonged to Ken. It took me a whole day to catch on to see that that was really very aggressive, and I connected the dots that it had a lot to do with the fact that as a child my experience was that my sister got everything, all the love and everything, which of course was not true, but that was my experience.
Sure.
And so it all came out in this on this journey.
And so what was happening in that moment was that, you know, the way that unfolded, you getting that room was exactly the medicine working to start to draw it out of you. And what is so important that people understand is that it's not just in the context of the ceremony where things are happening. It's before. Typically when someone commits to work with the medicine, things start happening. It's all the way leading up to getting here, in the ceremony, in the integration, and when you go home. So it does, and it doesn't have to be in the psychedelic space in order for the work to be happening.
Yeah. Another thing is like I picked star fruits of a tree for myself. I picked 3 fruits. And then I went to the yoga room. There were 2 other people, and I wanted to, I felt like I had to share them. It wasn't like giving me pleasure to share the star fruit, even though the tree was like less than a minute walk away, and I could have gotten many more. Yeah. But like this part that doesn't want to share, that just is scared of letting go. And anyway, that all came out so strong for me to really see. Mm-hmm. So then we, on the day of the ceremony, the evening, we gathered in a circle and we set an intention. And I just want to say that setting an intention is everything, everything. And I've never knew how important it is to set an intention. So my intention was, I want to meet my essence. And it took about 20 minutes for the medicine to kick in, and you lose a lot of the motor skills. It gets difficult to walk. Even somebody helped me to walk to my bed. We were all together in the ceremony room. Each one of us had a mattress. So I lied down, and an image, I immediately received an image that was so powerful. I saw a scale on the right-hand side, and on the other hand side, face to face, there were 2 men on a scale. Right. And the medicine showed me that I am up here. I've reached my full potential. She said, you're no longer down here. You don't have to look for a man who's up there trying to, you know, like whatever, like idolizing, then throw him off the pedestal, doing this over and over and over. It's like, you are up here. You've reached your full potential. And for me, that was like, what? Me? Who am I to have reached my full potential? It was such a 180-degree turn in my way of how I see myself. Mm-hmm. It was just unbelievable.
And you didn't have to do anything, right?
No,
you didn't have to achieve or do anything. You just had to switch the way that you viewed it. That was it. I mean, that's an easy thing to do, but it's a very simple concept, right?
Yeah, like my self-image, like you're not down here. You know, it's like you're in your full potential. Mm-hmm. And so following that, I must have had something like 250 images coming to me, followed by an insight where I exactly knew what that image meant. And then this like, wow, this is amazing. And the moment I got it, it's like I couldn't hold on to that insight. Another slide was coming in. Yeah. And I knew, wow, this is amazing. And it kept going and going and going and going. And honestly, I don't really remember those images. I do remember one image where I saw like a dark flowing mass. and in it were green little lights. And then all of a sudden the lights went off and it was only dark. And I knew that that was the Epstein-Barr virus that has caused a lot of problems for me in terms of autoimmunity. That was the Epstein-Barr virus, like being either I got rid of it or it got inactive, but I knew that it's not going to be a problem for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That was
did you get a sense of where it was coming from, like from an emotional perspective, or did the medicine just showed you that you didn't really need it anymore?
No, it was like it was done. On to the next.
Sometimes it's necessary to know everything, like where everything comes from. I think we fixate on psychoanalyzing everything, and sometimes it's possible just to let it go and to clear it. Not that it's not important to understand the root of aspects of our lives, but
I had no need to psychoanalyze. Like I understood the meaning, and the moment I understood the meaning, we went on to the next slide. And if I didn't understand the meaning, I would ask, "What does that mean?" And I would get the answer.
Right.
And then at some point, after many images, I saw myself as a child alone in my bedroom where I was really scared. And I was really cold for this first part of my journey, really, really cold. And then I threw up and lied down again, and I became really warm. All of a sudden, I felt such a pleasurable warmth come into my body. It was amazing. And I knew that that was love. Like fear is cold, love is warm. Mm. And I started to feel this incredible love for myself. It's like, wow, I love myself. And I just...
You never felt that before?
Not like that. Not like, no. It's like, I just love myself for no reason whatsoever. It's absolute, I love myself.
No reason. I mean, it's all the reason in the world that we love ourselves.
Yeah, but to feel it just like that was just so wonderful. And then at some point, Amber, you came with the questions that I had initially written down to ask me some of those questions. Like one of them was about seeing I wanted to see my guardian angel. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get to see my guardian angel, but I had this realization. It's like, wow, I have my personal angel. Somehow like that, I have my own personal angel protecting me. Mm-hmm. Was just mind-blowing. And then I realized that I also, the teacher, I don't know if it's Iboga or my higher self, was talking to me. I think it's both. Mm-hmm. It's like this teacher was just with me all the time and loving me, and I could answer and would answer questions. And I called him my personal teacher. And then Amber, you at some point you said, go find Karin. And I went to my apartment in my mind, and Karin wasn't there. And I heard a voice say, she's in the office. She left for the office. It's like she left for the office, right? It's like I left my home center a long time ago.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I go to my office. Of course, she's there. And then you asked me to talk to her. And I had a dialogue with her, which I don't really remember what we talked about. Mm-hmm. But there were quite a few insights. And it was really profound to have a dialogue with Karin, who identifies so much with her work, who gets mm-hmm. so much of her self-esteem out of her work. Her work is so important. And that was quite a highlight.
Well, and you also got the message too that you needed to find more balance in your work life, work and personal life, but you got very clear messages on what that meant and how to go about it, which is nice. Not just the awareness that you work too much, because I think a lot of us are aware of that, but like the directives around like how to best approach it, so that
more specifically, those details came the next day after the journey. I could continue to speak to my teacher, and he would say, answer me any question. Mm-hmm. In the past, I've always written down. I was able to channel the higher self messages, but there it was just streaming through me, and I could ask any question. At some point, I even said to my, because I was calling myself Liebling. Liebling in German means my love. And at some point, I said Liebling to my teacher.
Mm.
And I didn't see him, but I knew he was smiling. I knew he was smiling.
Well, it's interesting that you refer to him as he, but you're not sure if it was your higher self or Iboga or a combination of the two. And, you know, Iboga, although it has a lot of feminine qualities, is often referred to as, you know, as a masculine spirit. I believe it's like the perfect balance between the two, but often does show up in a more masculine way. So I would say your higher self is definitely feminine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this teacher was masculine. And when he smiled and then I realized that, because I always thought teachers are stern and serious, and wow, my teacher has a really good sense of humor.
Yes.
And then I started to pull his leg, and he started to pull my leg, and it was like I just had so much fun.
Yeah.
I also had asked the question, how do I forgive my parents? And in understanding and in loving myself, I could also see that my parents really loved me. Like they weren't attuned to me in a way that I needed them to be attuned to me. And they made a lot of mistakes, of course, but they really loved me. And I really got that.
Yeah.
That felt so healing.
Yeah.
That felt so healing.
It's the case for so many of us that the parents really love us, but they don't know how to do any better than what they did. And often it wasn't enough for us, right? But that's what brings us to the point of being willing to awaken in such a powerful, profound, and I mean, Iboga is a commitment, you know, so it's not just taking the medicine that's a commitment, but it's the realizations and the awarenesses that we receive is a responsibility that we take moving forward. And so there's a really vital aspect of the pain that we go through in our lives to push us to the point of being willing to awaken, which feels way better than it would have, than life would have before we chose that path. It just, you know, sometimes there's some wounds along the way that are part of the catapult, typically. Yeah.
So that night for me, it just flew by. It was so fast. And the next day I kept staying on this mattress. Everybody else had left. I couldn't even get up. My legs would not carry me. I just laid flat until the afternoon. And people brought me fruit, and I continued to talk to my teacher, and at some point it felt like it was getting a little weaker, and I kept saying, "Are you there? Are you there?" And he said, "Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here." and I got that I wasn't losing him, but I was losing my focus.
Mm-hmm.
He's always there. I have that teacher in me at all times, and that to have that resource, to know that, is just incredible.
Yeah. Well, we all do. We all have that inner wisdom, you know, whether or not it has the personality of the medicine specifically, or just, you know, tapping into our own highest wisdom. We just, you know, we allow the mind, the filters of the mind, to get in the way of that connection that we're born with. All of us are born with it. There's none of us that don't have it. It's just a matter of how connected we are to it. And this type of process removes the clog in between.
Yeah. And I would even ask specific questions like, how many clients a week should I see? And I got the answer. And like, I got so many answers. And also I realized my highest priority should be my vitality, because I saw the blue sky and the green palm trees. And it's like, this is vitality in the sun. And then at some point I got a voice that said, come to Costa Rica. You belong to Costa Rica, the rich coast.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, maybe I really do belong here. And I was like, I think I want to live here someday, you know, or maybe now, later, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the following day I woke up in the morning and my jaw was trembling, which I know was a release of fear in my jaw, because I have a tendency to clench my jaw, and that just released. And also the breath work that we did that day, I really needed to shake and breathe, and like I feel like a lot let go of so much in that breath work too.
Yeah, and it's so much easier to access some of the trapped emotion and trauma that needs to be released when the medicine is already in the body, because breath work, you know, is a really powerful modality, but in combination with the medicine, Not that you hadn't physically taken the medicine that day, but it was already in you.
But it was still
So,
working.
yeah,
It was still working. Totally. Yeah. So the second journey, I set the intention to heal the split between my heart and my sexuality, and my heart and my sexuality, meaning my chest and my pelvis. In core energetics, we talk about how the diaphragm, when it's chronically blocked, contracted, it prevents the energy to flow from the heart to the pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
And it causes a split between heart and sexuality. And so my intention was to do that. And boy, I must have cracked the code or something because that journey was also just incredible. And for a long time, I didn't even think the medicine was working. Remember, Amber, I was like, an hour later, I have no vision. I'm not seeing anything. This is not, I think I need more medicine. And then you said, why don't you get up? And I thought I had no sense that I wouldn't be able to get up. And I tried to get up, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I could barely stand on my legs again.
Yeah. It's such a common thing when people think they're looking for this like fireworks show of, visuals and, bam, bam, downloads. And that does happen sometimes, often, but that's not the only way that the medicine can work with us.
Yeah.
Which you discovered.
Exactly, which I discovered. So after that, I started to feel like I was high on a joint. I was just giggling, and I had this permanent smile on my face. And at some point, I was shown an image of me sitting in my office, looking into other people's faces and thinking, Karin is always looking into other people's faces. Why doesn't she turn around and look at herself? And although I've done a lot of therapy, somehow I think I have not really looked. And then out of the dark, I was had this totally black image. I mean, it was just black. And this voice came out that says, "You never look at me." And I was like, holy cow, who is this? Where does this voice come from? And I couldn't figure it out for a long time until later in the journey. So in the meantime, I was getting more giggly and more laughing. And at some point, when any thought that I had, this other voice would come in. And in my native language, Bavarian dialogue, it would repeat my thoughts, but put a really funny spin on it. And every time that happened, I had to just laugh out loud. It would crack me up. Remember how I was just
you were laughing uncontrollably. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. And Amber and Anthony at some point came, and we were, and I was telling Anthony how I was trying to heal the split between my heart and sexual, and I couldn't even get the words out, and I just burst out laughing. And so they said, "Okay, you're great."
Yeah,
I am great.
Yeah,
I'm just going to continue to crack myself up. So as this voice, so at some point I was thinking, but how can I be so happy when there's so many people suffering on this planet? And this voice would say, "Oh, there are so many people suffering on this planet. Oh, these poor people." And it would crack me up again. And I was thinking, when all these people in the room, like a lot of them seem to have a really hard time. Mm-hmm. Oh, all these people having such a hard time. And it would crack a joke. And I was like thinking, that's not funny. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't help laughing.
What did you get?
I got that this voice did not want me to go into the negative or into sadness. It wanted me to stay happy.
Right, because if everybody traded happiness for feeling badly for all of the suffering in the world, nobody could be happy. And then, there needs to be the balance of the low and the high vibration.
Yeah. And it was like, and then at some point I thought, well, am I done with suffering? And the voice said, yes, you are done with suffering. You're done. You don't have to suffer anymore. And it's like, wow, that's incredible.
Perfect.
what does that mean? Does it mean I'm not going to come back to Earth? Is this my last reincarnation?
Mm-hmm.
And the voice said, yes, this is your last incarnation. Be happy. Enjoy
happy.
being here.
So what does this mean for you now? Now you're home. Obviously things are a bit different because you're quarantined, but what is your
Well,
what is your biggest takeaway?
so I have this innate sense of just being happy for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of all this chaos, I feel like I'm available with empathy. I don't feel like I cannot connect to people,
Mm-hmm.
but I have this just sense of happiness and feeling good about myself that I've never felt, and loving myself that I've never felt. Yeah. I'm also somehow, I'm not going into worst case scenario thinking about what's going to happen. Like, I'm here today.
So easy to do.
My life is good. I'm sitting here talking with you, and I'm not going to feel guilty for feeling happy, and I'm not going to apologize for feeling happy. Like, I'm not helping anybody by not being happy.
So true, Bussy. Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the more people that can do that, especially in the face of what's happening right now, the better. You know, I mean, this is a very unique time that people have to themselves, that people have with their families. You know, most people are not able to do the normal activities that they typically engage in, and so it's really a message to all of us to spend time going within and to, you know, take some time for self-care, take some time to connect with the people that we love, even if it is just long phone conversations, you know, if you can't be with them physically. So it's great that you have this time and that awareness.
Yeah. And also it showed me that, because I've been ill with autoimmune disease for 10 years. And he said, stop focusing on the disease, focus on being in your vitality, focus on that.
Yeah.
What you focus on becomes more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, same about Trump. Like you said, don't think about Trump. Don't talk about Trump.
Yeah.
He will no longer be part of your experience.
Yeah.
Don't give him a moment of thought.
Yeah, the more energy we give anything, right, the more we grow it.
Yeah.
And, you know, negative thoughts and negative talk are like 5 times more powerful than positive, you know, in terms of like creating.
And,
you know,
and laughter is the best medicine. It pumps up your immune system. It heals. And so anyway, so my diaphragm now is so open. Like when I laugh, I'm able to laugh like I was able to laugh when I was 5 years old, when I was a kid. I had this belly laugh that I had completely lost. So this diaphragm opening is just like, wow, I can laugh. And laugh and laugh and laugh.
Beautiful. Well, we need more laughter in the world, so keep that up. And
so I'm almost done here. The last thing what I want to say is like that voice that came out that says, you never look at me. At some point I understood it was the 3-year-old child in me who was shamed for wanting what she wanted, for wanting to be in her power. This healthy narcissism of the child is like, look at me, look at what I can do. And I want this, and I'm going to take this. And I was shamed and punished in this place as a child. And so she went into the dark. She went into the unconscious.
So you put that aspect of her in the shadow, right? Because it wasn't safe to want to be seen.
Yeah, to be big, to be seen, to take what I want. That was not acceptable in my family, and I had to go into the shadow. So I talked to her, and it was funny because she was talking in Bavarian. And first I was, why is she talking in Bavarian? Because when I done inner child work with myself, I usually speak in English or German. But she was speaking in Bavarian, and she said some of the words in Bavarian that were just so delicious and really helped me remember like what it was like to be that little girl then. And the wonderment also of her, and the wanting to love and be loved, and wanting to please, and wanting to be seen for who she is. And like I really connected with her, and I had long conversations with her, And I integrated her in a way that I really feel like she's, part of me now. There's no split anymore.
Yeah.
There's no split.
Beautiful.
I also realized that every trauma causes a split. And for example, I asked at some point if it was true that I was a girl who was 10 years old who died in the concentration camp. Mm-hmm. And she said, no, actually, that was not. That was your inner twin, meaning a part of you. But the one that you embodied during that lifetime, you were actually in the Gestapo. So I feel like I can heal that inner split. And even in the first journey, I had an image where I saw a hut in a slum with all these hungry people in that hut. And I knew that the little Karin was in there. And I called her and I said, Karin, Karin, Karin. And she flew out of that hut like an angry insect coming at me, clinging onto my chest. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Just cling, hold on, like cling really tight. It's okay. And I was comforting her, and for a long time until she relaxed. And then I put her on my belly and she fell asleep. And these parts, like I realized these split parts in us, the Gestapo and the Holocaust victim, mm-hmm. the starving person and the fat person.
Right.
Those splits will not heal on this planet until we meet these inner parts and integrate them. I believe that poverty is not going to go away until each one of us gets that child out of the slum.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah.
Now, if that's true or not, I don't know, but it feels true to me.
Yeah. Well, and accepts all aspects of ourselves, really, because we can't just push the aspects away that we don't like and try to change all of it. Some of it we just have to accept and surrender to and be with.
Yeah.
And honor.
Yeah. So
you look amazing. You look like you've had a facelift. We call it the Iboga facelift.
I know. I came back and I said, I think Amber is right. I got a facelift.
It's true.
Like I wake up in the morning, my face is like a little swollen with lymph.
Uh-huh.
And I wake up and my face is just lifted and the way it's supposed to look.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, my dear. It's been so nice to connect with you. I look forward. Hopefully we can see you on the integration call on April 1st.
Yeah,
and,
I would love to.
And yeah, we'll put this up on our site, and of course you'll have access to it so you can share it with all the people that are curious about how your experience went.
Yeah.
And, it's different for everyone, obviously, but everybody that comes here gets what they need for their journey. And so
and one of your facilitators, one of your facilitators, said they on the first Iboga journey, he had a needle come out of his knee that was lodged in there for a decade. The drug pushed it out. And my friend Ken, who came with me, who suffers from Lyme disease, like his legs are now so much better, like much more free of pain. And so there's so many physical benefits that we derive from this.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Amber. I love you.
Darling, I love you too. So nice to see you, looking so well and vibrant and vital, full of vitality. So just continue shining that vibration in New York and out into, well, the world in general, but especially in the US. I know we could use it there at this moment. And so, keep us updated.
And I have this video I can watch. So
exactly. You need a reminder.
When I need a reminder. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, my dear.
Love you. Bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.